Hello, viewers. For the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation, I am Major General Neelendra Kumar here in conversation with the Major General VK Singh, the veteran military historian, author, and a very renowned officer of military communications. He's already been on our channel earlier. Today, we take up the issue, the controversy. We don't go into the political aspect of it, but the legal aspects relating to a book by the former Army Chief, General Manoj Narwane, who was the 28th Chief of Indian Army. He's authored a book titled Four Stars of Destiny. It is to be published. The publishers, which already stand indicated, are Penguin Random House. And incidentally, there is another book which is already in the market, authored by General Manoj Narwane, and that is titled The Cantonment Conspiracy. Now, as most of you would be aware, that while the publication of the book Four Stars of Destiny by Narwane is yet pending for want of clearance by the military authorities, excerpts from this book have more recently appeared in the Caravan magazine, covered by Sushant Singh, a well known military journalist. Now, welcome to General VK Singh. Before we start, I will just read out to you the provisions relating to publication authorship that are there in the military law. The military law, as you are aware, is the Army Act of 1950 vintage. Rightly, some of the fundamental rights which a citizen has, say, for example, freedom of speech or freedom of expression, as contained in Article 19, have been restricted for military personnel, all those who are subject to military law, under Section 21 of the Army Act, which says more power to modify certain fundamental rights in their application to persons subject to this act. So, this Section 21 restricts, abrogates certain of the fundamental rights in their application to military persons, and it has three parts. And the third part is relevant here, which says to communicate with the press or to publish or cause to be published any book later or other document. Connected to this Section 21 of the Army Act, there is a corresponding provision in the Army Rules, and that is Army Rule 21, that says no person subject to the Act shall publish in any form, whatever, or communicate directly or indirectly to the press any matter in relation to a political question or on a service subject or containing any service information or containing or cause to be published any book or later or article. Suffice to say, it would have become clear that this restriction is firstly to the persons who are subject to the Army Act. General Narwane is not subject to Army Act. Once he retired, he has ceased to be so subject. And what this provision relates to is where the subject matter is in relation to a political question or service subject or containing any service information. Well, so much so for the rules on the subject, the constitutional provisions. We are not in a legal or constitutional debate. We are on this issue of writing of a book. Now, General VK Singh, you are yourself an author, and to the my audience here who may not know, General VK Singh has written a book, Leadership in the Indian Army. You would find it in the description portion of this video. Now, here, General VK Singh has elaborately covered the leadership style of 12 outstanding military personalities after the partition, and these, just for information, are some of the best copybook or actual leaders, starting from the first Army Chief, Commander in Chief, in fact, Kereppa, And it goes on to include Thakur Nathu Singh, General K.S. Thimaiya, who was also chief, SPP Thorat, Muhammad Usman. Then third chief it is covered is Manik Shaw. Then it talks about R.N. Batra, P.S. Bhagat, Sagat Singh, Z.C. Bakshi, S.K. Sinha, and in the end, 12th, General Hanup Singh. General VK Singh has elaborately spoken about their style of command, leadership, and in all the operations which they took part. Some of them are relating to Second World War. For instance, it was General Thorat in Burma campaign or General Bhagat in desert. Many of them in initial Kashmir operations, whether it is Usman or it is General Sinha, and likewise Z.C. Bakshi, and he has come to right up to 71 war. And it is only when these people had proved their leadership in actual operations against our enemy forces at that point of time. Goa operations are also covered, Chinese, Nathula have been covered, Sagat Singh, and elaborately giving the actual orbit or the situations, the convenience, the superiority or otherwise of the forces, etc., have been covered by General VK Singh, and it's a book that is sort of a textbook for the officers of various ranks. Now, and you have also written military history of Corps of Signals and others. Now, with this background, I have taken a long time for this background, General VK Singh. My first question to you is that military provisions I have already just indicated. So I'll say that apart
Yes.
from what I just read out of military law, and I
Yeah.
said that a person, when he ceases to be subject, when he is not subject, then
Exactly.
military law is not applicable to him. Other
Yes.
than that, we have the Offshore Secrets Act, which is
Yeah.
applicable to everybody,
To everybody.
citizens or non citizens. If they infringe the offshore secrets, well, they are liable to be taken to task and
Yes.
they are open to trial. This is all. Otherwise, we as Indians take pride that our constitution has given us freedom of speech and expression, which is one of the valuable fundamental right next only to right to life, that is Article 21. Now, therefore, moving on, General VK Singh, my request or the second question is it correct to carry an impression that senior military officers are usually shy or hesitant to write a book or their memoirs?
Yes, you're very right. In fact, this is a subject on which I have written a thesis during my LDMC course in the CDM, and also the same subject in the National Defense College. The subject was creativity in the armed forces. I have noticed that creativity is being curbed, it is not encouraged. For young officers, nobody encourages them to you write something. People say go and play golf, go and play. When it's in the on half holidays like weekends, Wednesdays and Saturdays, it used to be mandatory in all category A establishment. Young officers go and play. The clubs were also such that there was nothing like a creative club. Since the beginning, naturally, as you become senior, you can't become a writer overnight. But if you have been writing since the beginning, then that you develop the skill. Fortunately, I'll tell you, of course, it happened on my own. I started writing for the Illustrated Weekly, the Femina, the Filmfare, etc. As a young officer, I was just a second lieutenant and a captain when I wrote short stories for these magazines, which were published even by the Illustrated Weekly. And some people used to be surprised that your story has been published. I said, yes, it's been published. I mean, I don't know anybody. At that time, I did not know Khushwant Singh. I came to know him much later.
Yes.
But you must encourage people to write, because it is not only the person can start with writing short stories. Later, he'll start writing about the army and about various other things. So it is that is the reason our senior officers are reluctant to write, which is a sad thing. And
Now,
unlike most other armies.
we are aware that, say, General Thorat had written a book. Later, the
Mm,
book was authored by General Padmanabhan. General
mm.
Vij has written, General Malik has written. So, I'm particularly taking the name of service chiefs that, despite the reluctance or hesitation, as you have brought out, which is usually there, but in the past, the officers have written, and also on an operational matter, which was not very pleasant. India did not do very well against China. Yet, L.P. Sen wrote a book. There was a book by Brigadier Dalvi, and there was a book by General B.M. Kaul. So the
Correct.
three books came out about 1962 operations. Perhaps there are others where even the military had not done well, and we had didn't have something to be very proud of in those operations. What do you say to that?
Yeah, that is true. But the fact that you have not done well is no reason not to write about it. It's all the more reason why you should write about it so that lessons are learned by the next generation. In our
And
case, the
quite
19,
right, quite
in
right. Yes,
1962
Alexander,
operation,
Wavell, Slim, etc. had all Patton
yeah,
had written
absolutely.
in Second World War
You
about
know,
their victories as well as their reverses.
because of the government policy, Henderson Brooks report has not been released. Because of that, all operations of 62 onwards, material is classified. You can't find that material in the archives. What is the use of having a military archives? Nothing of 62, 65, 71. The war diaries are not accessible because of the restriction placed, and the governments have changed. In 1962, Henderson Brooks may have, the report may have criticized the political leadership. That was Prime Minister Nehru at that time, and Krishna Menon, and of course the military leadership. But after that, the governments have changed. BJP has come into power twice. Those restrictions have not been lifted. The law has not been changed. So, unless people study those reports, how will they learn lessons? Our officers who go and appear in Part D exam, in staff college entrance exams, we are still asking them questions about Second World War, Battle of El Alamein, Burma campaign. We should be studying Indian campaigns. There are more lessons in the 62 war and 65 and 71 than we can learn from them. And after
Yeah,
all, our young
continue.
officers who are going to fight in the next war, shouldn't they know what mistakes we made in 1962? We are not teaching them, which is
I
a
will.
very strict thing. On
Uh,
this subject also, there was a discussion in the Jaipur Literature Festival about
okay.
1911, which I had managed to. It is the first time a military subject was discussed, and it was appreciated not so much by the military but by the civilians, the students. They said, yes, we also want to know what happened. We only keep on hearing we lost the war, but nobody is telling us what happened and why did we lose the war. So we must encourage this.
Yes. So the point made by you that even the subject matter which is embarrassing for us, not very glorious, that needs to be spoken in national interest. But apart from that, I'm coming to the creative part of it. And I
Yes.
would seek your views on the two aspects. Number one, that we touched upon, why is this hesitation there? Number one. And secondly, then why should the clearance of a matter that ultimately somebody has gathered and he has written down, why should that be restricted or discouraged? I'll seek your views on both the aspects. Why is the military shy in writing?
That's what I said. It's a matter of upbringing. The way we have been brought up in the military, creative pursuits were never encouraged. So you can't pick them up overnight. They appreciated officers who are doing well in sports, in games, such pursuits. That he's a good golfer, he's a good cricketer, he's played up to services level. Everything was appreciated. Nobody appreciated it if he started writing books or even articles, which we should do.
So
I
there
mean,
is,
it's a. I have written a thesis on this subject. It's a very detailed thesis, and of course, copies are available in the NDC and the CDM also. And for the first time, this subject was chosen. There was no material available earlier. Earlier, people used to write thesis by referring to earlier materials. And for the commandant in both the places was one Marshal Kulkarni. He was there, my commandant in CDM also. By the time I came to NDC, he became the commandant here also. So he said, VK, you're writing on the same subject. I said, if you want, I'll change the subject. But this is a different forum and the level is different.
There is some hesitation. My next part of the question that you have to answer, that the hesitation was one part, but then we, as per the military law, are expected. I'm using the word we, I'm no more in military, but the military personnel have to seek permission. Why should permission be so cumbersome and should take so much time?
That is a very good question. My book on leadership I had completed in 1998.
98.
I started writing this in 93 when I was in Jodhpur. It took me 5 years of the
Okay.
research because those 12 military leaders, their family members, etc., and those who had served with them, I had to contact a lot of people. It was submitted to MI Directorate for clearance. It was not cleared till the time I retired. I went and met everybody because the military directorate MI they forwarded it to the MOD, which was a new rule which was promulgated that time because of the
And by
book
MI, you mean military intelligence, for those
intelligence.
who may not know.
Earlier, they had the authority to clear the book. Later, after Arjun Ray's book was published, he had been BGS of 15 Corps in Srinagar when General Padmanabhan was the Corps commander. And he wrote a book. He gave a lot of information about what all used to happen. But it was cleared because by that time General Padmanabhan was the chief. After this was brought to the notice of the political leadership. The ministry said no. In future, clearance will be given by the Ministry of Defense. So mine was one of the first books well netted up in the MOD for clearance. It lay there with a director level officer for a couple of years. I went and met the defense secretary, Yogen Narayan, who happened to be my schoolmate. And I told him my book is not being cleared. Arjun Ray was also posted at that time. He tried very hard. Manmendra Singh, he also tried. Defense Secretary told me, don't worry, I'll tell them it will be done. I realized that in the Ministry of Defense, unless somebody puts it in writing, nothing is done. If a low level officer, he may be a deputy director, he may be a director, says no, nobody has the guts to overrule him. Unlike in the army, anybody can overrule his recommendation of a junior. There, nobody will use the pen to say no, I don't agree, clear it. And that's why I I was then told you wait till you retire, then you write the book. So I retired, and after that only the book was published. The clearance was never given. And there's nothing secret in that book. It's just biographies. But in the biographies, when you're describing operations, especially after independence, you will say he captured point so and so, he captured point so and so, he captured Nathula, Chola. They said these are military posts. You're revealing the location of the military posts, so they cannot be cleared. Now, if you don't give the locations, it's become meaningless.
At times, it may appear illogical why
Absolutely.
objection is being raised to an information which is otherwise in public domain.
It's the public domain.
Yes, as routinely
You told
available.
them. I said, please see the map. Nathula is a geographical feature. So is Chola. And you are objecting to it. But they don't understand.
The other related point is that what all agencies, and by agencies I mean branches or the directorates, that you feel would be involved in giving clearance for a normal publication.
Actually,
Uh,
I've seen nobody else involved except the MI.
MI and
If
military operations, perhaps.
military, if they feel so,
Yes,
or concerns a particular sector like operations, like
yes.
my something about Nathula, it was they will send it to Eastern Command, who may send it to the 17th Division just for their views. That this information is it okay to be published? Otherwise, it is dealt with by MI, and it is their discretion. Or suppose you write about signals, they will send it to signals for comments, but they have the final authority.
And are you, since you have served on the intelligence side also, military intelligence and otherwise, are you aware that a number of officers who were connected with intelligence, with RNAW or with IB, they have authored books, the civilians?
Yes, still knew the list of officers. They've been awarded. Like
Yes,
Dullat has written a book.
yes,
Uh, Vikram Sood, who was director,
yes.
he's written a book. R.K. Yadav has written a book.
So
Then
there are a number of names.
there are a
Number of
number of
names, yes.
them. There are about 8, 10 of them.
Connected with this,
Mm.
who, according to you, is expected to seek the clearance? Whose responsibility? Is it the military person, the former military person, or the publisher?
No, it has to be the author. It is the responsibility of the author to seek clearance. And
Yes,
only after you obtain clearance, you can go to the publisher. Normally, a publisher will not touch your book unless you
and the
have already
clearance.
got the
Yes,
clearance.
quite.
Publisher who
Yes,
is knowledgeable, he will say, this concerns military matters. You please obtain clearance and then come to me. Publisher, it is not his responsibility actually. Firstly, it is not necessary that the book is going to be published. I mean, you may write a manuscript, there are 10 and publishers may
yes.
refuse. So
It
you
may
have to
not
first,
see the light of the day.
it will not see the light of the day.
Yes.
You have to first obtain clearance.
And now there is a situation where, coming to General Narvane's book, the first book that is Four Stars of Destiny, that is yet to receive clearance, but his later subsequent book, The Cantonment Conspiracy, already stands published and it's available in market. Now, that is also something which is slightly unusual, apart from the fact that the author being a former chief of army staff, so he is expected, he would be aware of what to talk, what to write, and what is not to be written. We cannot really debate that aspect. I would like you to also contemplate a situation where, say, the each page of the book may not be available, but its abstract, its essence, or the moot point, as they say, has already been covered, say in this case, in the Caravan magazine by Sushant Singh. So, how do you look this situation?
No, like you said, once a person is retired, he is no longer subject to the Army Act and Army rules, but he is still subject to the Official Secrets Act. Now, that is a decision for the government to take. If it feels that the act has been violated, then it can initiate legal action against him.
Okay.
And that power exists with the government all the time. That can't be taken away.
Yes.
And like any other citizen, the retired people are also subject to the Official Secrets Act. That is the only option they have.
So thank you very much, General VK Singh, and you have definitely shed light and shared your actual experiences as an author. I'm sure this will enlighten and inform our audience. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.